Hello, this is Catherine Marie, and you are listening to Long COVID Real Talk podcast. Today, I wanted to talk about shame because I think that it's something that we're feeling a lot of. The two main ways that I was thinking that I feel shame a lot are first when people ask me when I'm going back to work, because there's nothing that I would like more than to be able to go back to work, and the fact that I'm not working makes me feel very, very ashamed. Even though I have the rational side of me that says, oh, this is not something you can control. You are fighting a horrific viral, post-viral fatigue syndrome, something or other, that it doesn't really change the feelings. It's hard to change the feelings. It's hard to use rational thought to change feelings that are so raw. And I was talking to somebody who also has long COVID, and they were saying that when they see their partner mowing the grass, it always makes them choke up because usually they were the ones that were mowing the grass. And I do not have a yard, but if we did, I think I would probably be the one that mows the grass because I always did growing up. But I do think that I think it depends on the gender if you kind of subscribe to different gender roles. But I know in my house, I feel a lot of shame for the state of our apartment. And we have people that we try, that are supposed to be helping us, and they do a great job, but it's really hard when you have a bunch of pets and little people, and it's just when you're busy and you don't have a lot of energy to keep everything in a good state, it can easily fall apart, especially if you have little people running around making messes as soon as you clean up a mess. So I don't know. I was up late last night because we are having the people come today that help us keep our apartment clean, and I have so much shame about just how they view me, because they are wonderful people, but they don't understand what long COVID is. Some of it is a little bit of a language barrier, but I think even if there wasn't a language barrier, it's pretty common for people to not have any idea what you're talking about, because, well, it just, nobody really knows what you're talking about, So it just makes me cringe and worry and have anxiety about what people are thinking about me, and that I'm unable to do what I'm supposed to be doing in my own house. And I almost never make any meals because I'm too tired. Sometimes I will, but it's very rare. Usually what I do is just order food, because it's either that or we have cereal or peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, because I just don't have a lot of energy, and I don't want to waste energy on something that I can outsource to something else or someone else. Because, for example, I can't outsource feeding the pets to somebody else unless I hire someone specifically for that, because if you ask someone to come and clean your apartment, they're not going to automatically empty your litter box and feed your pets and everything. You have to do that. So anything that you can delegate to other people and you can afford to do at this moment in time, then that's what I'm trying to do. The other thing that I was thinking, I'm not a dude, and I know that there are not as many men who are experiencing long COVID as women, at least from what statistics I've seen. But that being said, I can only imagine how it feels if there is someone who, because in general, it seems like, based on my conversations with my husband, that he was raised a certain way to be a provider, and I have that same desire to provide for my family, but I do think that the societal pressure is harder on him and on men in general. And I think if he had long COVID and was on workers' comp and not working, I think it would be much more, I think he would feel even more shame than I do because of the societal pressure to be the provider, like as the man or dude or whatever. I don't think this is true in every single case, but I'm just speaking, in very, in generalities, if that's even a word. I don't know if that's a word, but regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, regardless of how you were raised and what roles you were taught to fulfill, it's excruciatingly painful to feel that level of shame that you just feel completely worthless. And, if you're feeling like that, you're not alone, because I feel like that all the time. I was up until, I think, it was one of those days where I fell asleep in the middle of the afternoon and woke up in the middle of the night and just cleaned the apartment for a couple of hours because we're trying to get ready to move. So I just really wanted to spend time throwing stuff away. But I also just wanted to do that pre-clean that we typically do before people who clean our residence come, because we don't want them to see how much of a pig we really are. So we try to hide it and make it look not quite as bad as it really is. But I haven't been able to pre-clean for a really long time. And I feel so much shame when they come to clean the apartment. And I know that I probably shouldn't feel that way. And I probably should feel happy that I am helping other people provide for their families. But it still makes me feel like a piece of crap. And when I was talking to the person that felt so bad when they watched their partner mow the grass of their yard, my heart really goes out to them, because I don't have that exact experience because we don't have a yard, but I know what it feels like to see your partner picking up the slack and just feeling completely worthless. It's a horrible feeling. It's exhausting to feel that deep level of shame. And it doesn't do any good, as far as getting better. In fact, it makes everything worse. But it's just so difficult to keep your mental health so on point that stuff like that doesn't bother you. I mean, we're all human, no matter how much we work on our mental health and try really hard to use, positive mantras and stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit today about shame, mainly with other people doing what you usually do, and when people ask about when you're going back to work. And I'm sure there are other times as well, but those are the two that come to my mind first. So I guess I always try to come up with some way to make it feel better or make it better, but I don't think that that's realistic. I think that maybe the purpose of this episode can just be to make it clear that a lot of us are feeling this way, and that, we're not alone, and that we can continue to have hope, because I do think that at some point we're going to be feeling better. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon. Okay, bye. Okay, I have a quick PS. If you are interested in learning more about shame and vulnerability, the best person that I know who writes about this is Brené Brown, Brene, and then Brown like the color brown. She has a TED Talk that is extremely popular from a few years ago. She has a podcast of her own. She's written multiple books. She's a great social worker with a lot of great insights. So if you're interested in any additional reading up on shame and vulnerability, she is definitely one of the best that I've seen. So anyway, that's it. Okay, thanks. Positive feedback helps to continue attracting more people who might benefit from this podcast. If you wouldn't mind leaving a review and subscribing to the podcast, I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I also love hearing from you. Please email me at longcovidrealtalk@gmail.com, or you can call or text 650-382-2217.